Imagine this: the ocean's most powerful predators, creatures that have ruled the deep for millions of years, suddenly trying to escape their own home. Not because they were being hunted, not because they were starving, but because something beneath them may have terrified them even more. In September 2020, something extraordinary happened on the remote beaches of Tasmania, Australia. Nearly 470 pilot whales appeared along the shoreline. Some were already dead. Hundreds were still alive. Rescue teams rushed into the freezing water. They spent days pulling the whales back into the sea. Yet something unbelievable happened. The whales kept coming back, again and again. It was as if the ocean itself had become the one place they refused to return. These weren't helpless animals. Pilot whales are among the ocean's most intelligent and powerful hunters. Few marine creatures dare to challenge them. So if even they were desperate to escape, what were they running from? And Tasmania wasn't the only place. Around the world, creatures that should never be seen near the surface began appearing one after another. Giant, ribbon-like fish, deep-sea predators, mysterious glowing creatures, whales, dolphins, all behaving in ways scientists struggle to explain. Coincidence? Maybe. But when the same pattern repeats across different oceans, across different continents, over and over again, it stops looking like coincidence. It starts looking like a warning. Tonight, we're going into one of the least explored places on Earth. A place so mysterious, we've mapped the surface of Mars better than we've mapped our own ocean floor. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some scientists believe the ocean is trying to tell us something. The question is, are we listening? Before we can understand why these creatures are abandoning the deep, we first need to understand what the deep really is. Because the truth is, the ocean isn't just another part of our planet. It is an entirely different world. A world that existed long before humans, and one that still hides more secret than we can imagine. Around 71% of Earth's surface is covered by water. Yet despite centuries of exploration, scientists estimate that more than 95% of the ocean remains unexplored. Think about that for a moment. We have sent spacecraft billions of kilometers into space. We have walked on the moon. We have explored Mars with robots. But beneath the waves of our own planet, there are places no human eyes have ever seen. In fact, experts often say we understand the surface of Mars better than the bottom of our own oceans. And nowhere is that mystery greater than Challenger Deep, the deepest known point on Earth, hidden inside the Mariana Trench. Nearly 11 kilometers below the surface. Down there, sunlight simply doesn't exist. The temperature hovers just above freezing. Every square centimeter is crushed by pressure so immense it would flatten an ordinary human body in an instant. Even the most advanced submarines ever built can only survive there for a few hours, and only a handful of people in history have ever reached those depths. But despite the darkness, despite the crushing pressure, life exists. Strange life. Creatures with transparent bodies, glowing eyes, razor-sharp teeth, and survival strategies unlike anything found on land. Some create their own light. Others survive without seeing the sun for their entire lives. Many of them have evolved in complete isolation for millions of years, which raises an unsettling question. If creatures perfectly adapted to one of the harshest environments on Earth are suddenly abandoning it, what could possibly make the deep ocean even more dangerous than it already is? Because that's exactly what appears to be happening, and the evidence only becomes stranger from here. If the deep ocean is changing, the first warning signs may not come from scientists. They may come from the creatures living there. And in recent years, something strange has been happening. In January 2023, fishermen in Japan pulled a creature from the water that almost never appears near the surface. An oarfish, nearly 6 meters long, a silver ribbon-like animal that spends most of its life hundreds of meters below the ocean. Many people in Japan call it the messenger from the sea god's palace. According to an ancient belief, when oarfish rise from the deep, disaster follows. Scientists don't accept the legend as proof, but they do admit one thing: oarfish are appearing in places where they normally shouldn't. And then came another sighting. Near the Canary Islands, researchers filmed a creature that seemed even more impossible: an anglerfish, the same nightmare-looking predator that uses a glowing lure to hunt in total darkness. A fish designed for a world where sunlight never exists. Yet there it was, swimming near the surface, in daylight where it should never have been. Then a Russian fisherman caught a strange-looking smooth lumpfish. Its swollen head made it look almost almost human. The video spread across the internet. Millions of people watched it. Many called it a monster, but marine researchers noticed something else. A pattern. Different species, different oceans, different countries. Yet the same unsettling behavior. Creatures from the deep appearing where they should never be. And just when people began dismissing these sightings as coincidences, the story became much bigger. Because this wasn't happening in just one place. It was happening across the world. In India, hundreds of thousands of olive ridley sea turtles arrived along the coastline during one of the largest nesting events on Earth. In several coastal regions, unusual fish die-offs were reported. Some fish became trapped in shallow water. Others appeared confused and disoriented. And then came the whales, again and again. Some strandings involved sick animals. Others involved apparently healthy ones. Researchers investigated disease, underwater noise, changing temperatures, food shortages, even magnetic disturbances. But no single explanation solved every case. That's what makes this mystery so fascinating. Every new event seems to answer one question while creating two more. Because when the ocean's largest predators, creatures that have survived for millions of years, begin behaving in ways we don't fully understand, ignoring the pattern becomes increasingly difficult. So, what exactly is changing beneath the surface? Is the deep ocean becoming harder to survive in? Are human activities disrupting ecosystems that remain stable for thousands of years? Or are these animals sensing environmental changes long before we do? So, what does science actually say? Could all these events be connected, or are we simply witnessing unrelated tragedies at the same time? For years, marine scientists have searched for answers, and while no single explanation solves every mystery, several powerful factors keep appearing again and again. The first is climate change. The deep ocean has remained cold and stable for millions of years. Many species evolved in that environment. Even a small change in temperature can disrupt an ecosystem that took thousands of years to balance. As the upper ocean continues to warm, oxygen levels in some regions begin to fall. Food sources shift. Ocean currents change. The second threat is something humans rarely see: noise. The ocean is no longer silent. Every day, thousands of cargo ships, military sonar systems, oil exploration, and underwater construction projects fill the sea with powerful sound waves. For animals like whales, sound isn't just how they communicate. It's how they navigate, how they find food, how they stay with their families. Imagine trying to survive while someone constantly shines a blinding flashlight into your eyes. That's what relentless underwater noise may feel like to them. Then comes another invisible danger: plastic pollution. Every year, millions of tons of plastic enter the world's oceans. Much of it eventually breaks down into tiny fragments called microplastics. The deeper scientists look, the more plastic they find. And finally, there's the ocean floor itself. Deep sea mining, oil drilling, gas exploration, activities that disturb environments which remained untouched for millions of years. The deep ocean is changing faster than we once believed, and if its inhabitants are reacting, perhaps they're noticing those changes long before we do. But despite everything science has discovered, one mystery refuses to disappear: the legend Leviathan. For thousands of years, cultures around the world have told stories about enormous creatures hidden beneath the sea. Most historians believe these stories were inspired by encounters with unfamiliar marine animals, creatures that people simply couldn't explain. And history gives us plenty of examples. The giant squid was once dismissed as a sailor's myth until real specimens were finally discovered. The coelacanth was believed to have gone extinct more than 60 million years ago. Then in 1938, one was caught alive. Discoveries like these remind us that the ocean still has the power to surprise us. That doesn't mean mythical monsters are hiding beneath the waves, but it does remind us how little we truly know. Because if more than 95% of the ocean remains unexplored, how many discoveries are still waiting in the darkness below? Whether these strange events are connected or simply happening at the same time, one fact remains impossible to ignore. The ocean is changing faster than many scientists expected. Creatures that depend on it are changing with it. Every stranded whale, every deep-sea fish appearing where it shouldn't, every unusual migration reminds us of one uncomfortable truth. We often think of the ocean as something separate from our lives, but in reality, it is the system that keeps this planet alive. It produces roughly half of the oxygen we breathe, It absorbs enormous amounts of heat from the atmosphere. If something begins to go wrong there, eventually, it affects all of us. Maybe these animals aren't trying to warn humanity. Maybe they're simply trying to survive. But sometimes, survival itself becomes the warning. Because when nature begins behaving in ways we don't fully understand, the smartest response isn't fear, it's paying attention. The deep ocean remains one of the last truly unexplored places on Earth. Hidden beneath kilometers of darkness are countless species, ecosystems, and mysteries we have yet to discover. Perhaps one day, science will explain every strange sighting, every stranded whale, every creature rising from the depths. But today, many questions remain unanswered, and maybe that's exactly what makes the ocean so fascinating. So here's a question for you. Do you believe these unusual events are simply natural changes, or could they be signs of something much bigger happening beneath the waves? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think. And if you enjoy exploring the world's greatest mysteries, make sure to subscribe, because our next journey goes even deeper. Until then, stay curious and never underestimate the secrets hidden beneath the surface.